Our lives are laid out on a road of bumps, turns, struggles, and more. How do we respond? How do we endure adversity for learning and growth? I'm Aubrey Johnson, and we'll explore these questions and more on the road to rediscovery. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Road to Rediscovery. I'm your host, Aubrey Johnson. The Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life lessons to learn and grow from them, and of course, pay it forward and uplift others who are struggling through dark times. I am so excited to share that the Road to Rediscovery Stand Store is now officially open for business. That's right, inspired by this podcast and the insights from our many amazing guests, we have all sorts of resources targeting your personal growth, from free e-guides to ebooks, and then, of course, the full-blown Rediscovery Roadmap digital course. That Rediscovery Roadmap digital course, it's a transforming device. It really is, and it will change your life. I guarantee you firsthand. So get on the road to overcoming adversities and realizing your true potential by visiting us at stan.store/road to rediscovery. That's stan.store/road, the number 2, rediscovery. And as always, we are truly, truly grateful for your listenership. All right. My special guest is a former farmer and rugby player whose path has changed forever when a split-second decision on the rugby field left him with a dislocated neck, waking up in the hospital 5 days later, paralyzed from the neck down. With expert guidance and his amazing strength, resolve, and determination, he regained mobility in his arms. And fast forward to now, he is a certified mastery consultant and sought after speaker and coach. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a great welcome for Mr. Wayne Forrest to the show. Wayne, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, mate. I'm loving it.
Oh, fantastic. We're loving it as well. We're equally excited to unpack all this and just give some great insights from your experience, your journey to the listeners. So this may sound a bit odd, Wayne, as far as how we're starting off, but we would love to know. Give us a glimpse into what got you excited about rugby. I mean, how long have you played it, and what captured your interest in that sport?
Rugby, it's our national game. So it was really big when I grew up. And especially growing up in the country areas, it is part of the lifestyle, you could say. So I started when I started school at the age of 5.
Oh, wow.
And, we used to run around in bare feet on icy cold mornings and
Yeah.
play young 5-year-olds rugby. And
Mhm.
I was hooked. My dad played, and I just wanted to play rugby and loved it.
That's fascinating, and I'm going to ask a question, I guess, due to my limited knowledge of rugby and sports in your country. Um, in the U.S., obviously, we have baseball season, basketball season, football season, and so forth. But I wanted to know: is rugby a year-round sport, or are there seasons there as well?
Yeah, no, it's a winter sport. So
Okay.
it's normally starts in autumn and goes into winter, and it's normally finished by spring. But yeah, it's a soft ground sport because it's a lot of contact. It's very much similar to American rugby without the pads.
Ah.
It's a little bit different. It's
Mhm.
was created way back in England in a university town called Rugby, and someone picked up a soccer ball and ran with it,
Yeah.
and that's how it started.
Amazing. I mean, and that's a piece of history. I mean, the soccer ball and running, I kind of remember someone sharing that with me in the past as far as how rugby got started, but I never knew there was an area. in the UK, I guess, in England, called Rugby. Was that the
Yeah.
name of the town?
Yeah, or the
Right.
university, yeah.
Oh, the university,
That's
gotcha.
yeah, that's how I understood it anyway, so
Okay. No,
yeah.
that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, Wayne. And so you being from the country and living in the country and your roles growing up in farming and so forth, and then of course playing rugby since you were 5, becoming quite good at it, knowing all the rules and playing the sport, very passionate about the sport, I would imagine. And then comes the time where that that fateful decision, that fateful play, that fateful time, um, comes upon you, or you come upon it on your path. Um, Being in the hospital for 5 days before coming to is has got to be an absolute harrowing experience. I mean, but I'm sure there's not much you can remember during the time you were out. But when you came to, Wayne, when you came to, what was the first feeling or thought that you had when you were told that you would be paralyzed for the rest of your life?
Yeah, there was a bit of a sequence there. First time I opened my eyes and realized, "Oh my god, what's happened?" Um, I just wished it was a bad dream. I don't know if your listeners or yourself have ever had that moment where you've woken up after something horrible and you've gone, "Oh God, please let it be a
Yes,
bad dream,"
a bad dream. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I had many mornings like that, waking up afterwards, just,
Mhm.
wishing it was a bad dream. But reality, it wasn't. And I can remember a doctor coming in and saying those words to me. Um, he wasn't very experienced and he had very pidgin English and sort of blurted out, "You're not going to walk again."
Oh man.
And I was on my own. And I was, yeah, it felt like someone had kicked me in the guts, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, and I can remember in my head, I just wanted to tell him, there was a lot of swear words in my head.
Sure. Sure.
um, and, uh, but I didn't. I was very polite. I was brought up to be a polite young man. And when he left, I just bawled my eyes out. I
Yeah.
felt absolutely gutted. Um,
Mhm.
and in those early days, there was a lot of thoughts of, how am I going to survive this?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What how about before that event happened, if I can just take a couple steps back, before that event took place, did you have a destiny? Um, was there a destiny that you had in terms of where you wanted to be 5 years from then, 10 years, 15 years, and so forth?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a destiny as such. I
Okay.
would say that I definitely had dreams of being a farmer
Yeah.
and a sheep shearer and playing sport.
Yeah.
They were the three loves of my life. Um, I grew up with farming parents, and they worked really hard, and I loved it absolutely. From before I started school, before I walked, I was on the front of my grandfather's horse.
Nice.
So by the age of 10, I could do a man's job pretty much on the farm. I
Wow.
could, I could, I was very physical. I was
Yep.
quite tall for my age, but I was quite strong.
Nice.
And there wasn't anything I couldn't do. I had my own horse and dogs.
Mhm.
So in the holidays after school, I worked on the farm because that was my love. So that just gives you a little bit of an insight of who I was. I at the time my accident was running a farming business and a shearing business.
Mhm.
I was only young. I had twin daughters and I was married. I was so grown up for 25 years of age. And I knew what I wanted.
Yes.
And that was to own my own farm and have, expand my business in farming.
Yeah.
And, and yeah, that all changed.
Wow.
And so,
Um,
yeah.
so Wayne, as you were growing up, and the duties you've done in farming and being physical, at a young age, and having some quite good size to you, growing up at a young age, of course. Um, would it Um, would it be fair to say that you were raised with a bit of resilience and tenacity? I mean, in knowing that, hey, as children growing up, we toe the line, so to speak. Toe the line meaning, we grab a pitchfork and a shovel and we dig in. We contribute to the family's growth, to the land, to whatever help our parents need of us. I mean, was there some resilience that was taught within you growing up as you lived in the country on the farm?
Yeah, definitely. That lifestyle, it's
Yeah.
physical. It was physical. I could lift a full grown sheep over probably, you know, 500, 600, 700 millimeter fence,
Wow.
at,
Wow.
at the age of 11, 10.
Yeah.
So you soon learn to work and get the job done. Sometimes it was 7 o'clock at night,
Yes.
or whatever it was. So you had that stamina, I suppose. I
Mhm.
used to walk a lot and run a lot. So long distance running sort of stamina
Yeah.
comes with that kind of work. Shearing sheep, your listeners probably don't even know what that is, but that's cutting the wool off the sheep.
Right.
And if you ever look it up, it is a physical dance between a man or woman who's cutting the wool off a sheep. And you do that, in my case, 350 times throughout an 8-hour day.
Wow.
It's like running 3 marathons in a day.
Oh,
That's kind of energy that
yeah.
you use. So I had all that sort of physical resilience,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my parents probably taught me to always look forward. I struggled at school. I struggled with being just a little bit different,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
and being picked on, and
Mhm.
not liking school,
Mhm.
finding that I was dyslexic when I found out when I had my accident at 25. So I went through school feeling like I was dumb, um, as well. So that also gave me a lot of resilience of, you know, being bullied, being picked
Sure.
on,
Yeah.
sort of for my lack of academics.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, they couldn't pick on me in the rugby field though, but that was different.
Yeah, but
Got
I
some of
mean,
my own payback.
look, as human beings, Wayne, I feel that we all need to have some sort of outlet, right? Some sort of outlet where people who pick on us and ridicule us and mock us and laugh at us, when we're not meaning to be funny, okay? We got to have some way to constructively, I guess, um, just release that pressure and tension and anger and resentment that comes you know from them and being an object of ridicule. I'm not a fan of it either. I experienced it myself growing up and everything. And man, I have to tell you, it is not anything that I would wish anyone through or for. And so this brings me now to um, wanting to talk about uh, this point of transformation for you. Okay, you talk about as a coach an inner warrior, and this inner warrior can be identified or can be detected um, in the eye of the storm, where you can turn challenges into opportunities. Okay,
Mm,
and so if I can just briefly share with you, um, I have a similar concept that I find that kind of inspires me. and I taught it to my son, and it's simply a well, like a well underground with water and everything. Um, Going to the well when you feel like you're at the end of your rope or you're just exhausted and can't go that much further, go 1 mile further, fight for one round longer, just go one more, but you have to go to the well and dig deep to find that source of strength and resolve, so that's kind of like a concept that inspires me, that keeps me moving. Okay, so similar to this, the well, can you give us some insight on this inner warrior and the power within us?
Yeah, mate, I love that. The well, your well is infinite,
Mm,
and the inner warrior in us is that connection to our intuition, our gut sense, our
mhm.
um, it's life,
Yes.
it's nature, it's always expanding, and uh, so the inner warrior within us, it's in that moment when I said, "How am I going to survive this?" It was this quiet voice in me that just said, "You're going to do what you love."
Mm,
For me, it was farming.
mhm, mhm.
How was I going to farm? I've got these hands that don't work and arms that in the first few weeks didn't want to even move.
Mhm.
So how was I going to get back to farming? It's a real physical job, and um, I didn't know how, but I knew I had to try because
Yeah.
that strong voice. So that is in all of us, but tend to we tend to turn it off or not listen to it in society because quite often we've been taught to rely on the physical world of what we see, taste, touch, smell, right?
Yeah.
And we don't learn to use the faculties that we have within us,
Yes.
like intuition, w- will, right?
Yep.
Um, the will to get up and do it. Um,
Mhm.
and there's there's strength inside of each one of us. There's a big well in each one of us, as
Yes.
you would say, right?
Mhm.
And we often don't know how to reconnect to that well.
Mm. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And I love how you put the two together between the well and the inner warrior. And because of societal norms and just, the things we physically see in day-to-day
Mm.
stimulation with multimedia, with sports, acting, movie stars, musical artists and singers and so forth. There's this whole physical aspect that is, I don't want to say it's overrated, but it's very well celebrated, and there's and that inner warrior can help you realize that you're not at a loss. There is hope, and you can define or redefine who you are. You're no less of a person because of any type of physical limitation. You are still capable of achieving amazing things and making a change in the world, whether you have a physical limitation or not. But that inner warrior has to light that fire. Is that right, Wayne?
Yeah, I think we have to light the fire, but
Uh-huh.
the inner warrior is waiting for us to light the fire.
Understood.
Right?
Understood.
It,
Yes.
it, it's more. Um, it's I quite often say to clients too, and I get them to start to think about what is their truth,
Right.
because the inner warrior is the truth, right? It's the truth in us.
Yes.
It's being curious. That's where people, because quite often, how do you connect to the inner warrior? A whole lot of words from me isn't going to help that person connect. You
Yeah.
have to find it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about being curious and questioning everything,
Yes.
questioning your own beliefs,
I see.
your parents' beliefs,
Yes.
your upbringing beliefs,
Uh,
your
uh,
society beliefs,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're two different men here from different um, lifestyles, right?
Mhm.
Different different backgrounds, different, uh, but there's if we strip that back, there's a truth.
Right.
And I believe that you and I are two spiritual beings having a human experience, right? It's not based on my upbringing. It's not based on what color we are. It's
Right.
not based on our religions.
Right.
It's just strip it right back. What is the truth here? You know,
Yeah.
and I I think that's a real good place to start, because by doing that, you're getting curious about what's breathing us.
Right. Right.
What are we connected to? We get into quantum physics. There's science behind this now,
Oh, good.
with with quantum physics, we are all everything is 99.9999% space,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Even the table, even the concrete that we stand on,
Yes.
but it's all vibrating different forms, right? It
Sure.
is vibrating different frequencies, which create a different form,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so if we take that to our own body and what makes us, how do we stick together if we're 99.99% space? How does
True. Yeah.
not a stiff breeze blow us apart,
Right.
right? I've got a point why I'm saying this.
Okay.
There has to be intelligence in this world, in that space.
Yes. Yes.
There's more to us than just what we think there is through this physical world of touch, taste, smell, hearing, and seeing, right?
Right. Right.
There's intelligence here with us. That intelligence is also in us, in each part of our cell. It's in nature. So that's what the inner warrior is for me. It is stripping it back. What's my truth?
Yes.
Being curious.
Yes.
I'm not expecting anyone to believe what I'm saying listening to this. I want them to say, "Oh, I want to question this. I
Right.
want to be curious and ask and find my own truth,"
Yes.
because you'll find your inner warrior.
Understood. Understood. And so, in order to empower someone, and like you said, any words that we say, is not going to bring that inner warrior or bring that client to the inner warrior, right? It's something they need to experience themselves, just like you mentioned. But that there has to be a behavior change, I would imagine, um, that steers their behavior in the direction of being curious. So there's a shift in mindset where their mindset must help guide them or direct them into that state of curiosity and digging deeper and asking why, right? Is How important is mindset in what you coach in helping people find that inner warrior?
Well, you have to have that curiosity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you have to. be sick of the results you're getting right now.
Yes.
You know, um, unless you're going to just get the same results if you don't change anything,
Understood.
and everything. It's This world is created by thought. Our world is created by thought.
Yeah.
I always say to my clients that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
Mm.
So it's what you are thinking right now is creating your outer world. Right?
I think I'm starting to understand this, Wayne. So,
Yeah, this is metaphysics, and
yeah.
it's a results formula that we use, and we talk about that. Our thoughts create our feelings,
Yes. Yes.
right? Not the other way around. And our feelings actually affect our physiology in our body,
Yeah.
which create actions, right?
Right. Right.
So in other words, if we're feeling expansive or positive, we're going to take a totally different action than if we're feeling sad, depressed, angry,
Yeah.
frustrated, right?
Yeah.
Or depressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And those actions create our results, right?
Yeah.
This is cause. This is the law of cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
In our own world. So when we understand that we have this intelligence, we're thinking and creating, we're creative beings in this world. And if you want proof on that, just look around you. Look behind me. Everything here has started by a thought. Someone has taken that thought and then created or taken action and
Right.
created that thing, from the books to the pictures to the microphone to the pens to the clothes we wear,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Every bit of it.
Every bit of it.
Yes.
So, so the first question I ask my clients: what would you love to create?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the first question I asked. In that moment of lying in that bed, how am I going to survive this? And it said, do what you love. And that took me on to a road of finding. I had my ups and downs, don't get me wrong.
Sure. Sure.
This is 30 years now this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So 30 years of discovering all this awareness. I'm hoping that I can give it to your listeners so they can cut that down and they don't have to have some major accident to go on that journey. But this
Yes.
is the beginning of ask yourself, what would I love?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because everything in this world is for us, Aubrey. Everything. That accident was just perfect for me. That It took me on a destiny that I did not know I had coming. It was not something I would like to repeat.
Right. Right.
But what I've learned from it and what I'm doing now is so far away from that dream that, and there's no less love for what I do today, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
this is absolutely fascinating, Wayne, I have to say, because there is a level and a depth of spirituality that you are introducing and bringing into how you coach your clients, and asking, what do you love, and do what you love. And when I hear that, just as well, probably just as you've heard that voice in your head when you've gone through your experience, do what you love, to me is so vast. It's so uh, limitless. It's unlimited. I mean, do what you love. I mean, it's either something I love now or something that this journey is going to take me on that will introduce me to something I love doing. And to me, that's kind of like how I picked up from you in the journey that you've been on, um, far and wide, anything outside of what you would have ever fathomed before the
Mm.
accident.
Yeah, and that's it. Like we, as a coach, I always get my clients to test that what I love,
Yes,
and if the bigger and scarier it is more alignment with. I think the inner warrior wants you to trust. There's a process to this, Aubrey. You
yes,
know, and that process is asking, what would I love? And stepping into something that's going to pull and create a better version of ourselves,
yes,
right? And that's what my path over 30 years has done. I didn't go from farming one day to coaching the next. I kind of, or an author of a book or a TEDx talk.
yes,
That's all been a process of me asking that question. Okay, what do I love now?
yes,
What would I love to be now? And then being stretched into being a bigger version of who I am today. And that you have to rely on something bigger than us to take us there, if that
yes,
makes sense,
yes,
right?
yes,
And that's what I mean. We've got that in us, all of us. And that's why I like to call it the inner warrior. You could have other names for it. Can be the higher self or God or the universe
yeah,
but I just like inner warrior because I feel like I need that strength. And that is, a warrior is powerful. It's going to, bring that strength to me, if that makes sense.
it does. And there's a great sense and degree of bravery behind the warrior, and it takes bravery
Mm.
to go through the journey and redefine yourself, or go through the journey and explore what is it that you love that you may not have ever had or been in contact with in leading up to this point. With your journey, you know you've considered that, you've opened your mind to receive it and to be a part of it, and it's absolute tremendous. It's a true testimony to your story, and to the fact that we all have it, and we can find it, and we can leverage it to help ourselves, kind of move forward. So, um, I wanted to know: are there any? And this question may not be the greatest question, but I'm wondering, um, taking some rugby or farming concepts that you can use as metaphors in how you coach for strength, for resilience, for resolve. Are there any types of um, concepts or methods that you've adapted from your
I, I
earlier
think
life of that?
I think it's a bit of a war analogy, and you've just touched on it before with what you said, and that is the sense of courage, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Courage is being able to take a step towards your greatest fear,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same in rugby. Rugby is like a game of war, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
It's very physical,
it is.
um, and and it's about physical dominance really over the other team,
Mhm.
and so I would say that my um, thoughts around this is courage. And for me, courage is being able to face what you fear most
Yes,
and take a step towards it.
I
Uh,
see.
and uh, I really like that. I think that's the inner warrior in us, is
Mhm.
being able to trust that I'm going to be okay. Um,
I love that, Wayne. So what is on the other side of fear for people?
growth,
Love it.
growth. You become a bigger version of yourself, or a
Yes.
larger version of who you truly are, and it's coming back to what is your truth. For me now, my truth, and this has come over time, Aubrey, is that
Yeah.
I'm that spiritual being having a human experience. The
Yes.
spirit part is the inner warrior part of me,
Yes.
right? And that inner warrior is love, unconditional love, not conditioned love.
Right.
Conditioned love, as a parent, I've used conditioned love to
Yeah.
get what to get them to do what I want to do.
That's right.
But that's the human experience, right? But
Yeah.
the spiritual experience is unconditional love. It is just, there's no conditions with it at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
giving. It is also um, beyond intelligence.
Right.
It's genius. It's got a genius mind. Someone said to me, I don't know which mentor it was, but it said, um, if you get the right question, you always get the answer.
Mm, I like
And
that.
so it's about forming the right question within ourselves to get the right answer.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the third one for me is nature. It's always expanding,
Yeah.
it's always growing.
Hmm.
And that's our true nature. You know, that's why we want more. We'll get a goal and we want more. We're
Yes,
never
that's right.
satisfied, right? We're never satisfied as human
No,
beings. We're
no.
not meant to be,
Part of our
because
human nature.
we're
Yeah.
always expanding. So that's my truth, right? And um, that really helps me trust in
Yeah.
those moments of taking a step towards my fear.
I got it. I understand. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And that is your truth. And knowing and understanding your truth helps you, I would think, empowers you in walking or stepping into that area of fear. And you're mindful of it, but the warrior is brave, and you know your truth, and that is your armor to step you closer into fear, it seems like. And so, in us talking about finding ways or finding things that we love that we may or may not have ever experienced before, and we talk about the inner warrior, we talk about our truth, we talk about love and spirituality, and all of these things really play a symphony in what makes us up as a being, in my view. But I wanted to ask you, a lot of people define themselves by their careers. They define themselves by
Mm.
some amazing feat they've done, or they define themselves by what house they live in, what car they drive. And some even define themselves by their athletic prowess. So, if you can just, for the listener's benefit, um, in your mind, share with us in one or two words What defines us?
Oh, the first word that comes to mind is love.
Love.
I think we're all looking for it. That's why people look for the career or the
Yeah.
sporting prowess or
Mhm.
um, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for some sort of love.
Yes.
And my book, I talk about this quite a lot. Is you know that unconditional love is about if we. I I want to be quick here. I know we're probably running out of time, but we have two sides to our personality, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the human experience and the inner warrior, the spiritual side. The human experience is often quite conditioned, right? It started when we were born, and it's our timeline to wherever we are.
Yeah.
And there's been many times where we've had conditioned love,
Yeah.
right? Meaning that we're trying to get love for something.
Hmm.
And so it's distinguishing between the two and understanding that there's big parts of me that has or wants conditioned love, right? That I need love for some reason.
Yes.
And that often can be reflected in our kids. It's the behavior that we don't like in them.
Right.
Because why don't we like it? Is because it's quite often our behavior that we don't like.
Yeah.
It's the same with our spouses. If we have an argument, why are we having an argument? It's because, just quickly, it's normally a reflection of an old pain point in me that I've been triggered. It wasn't
Right.
actually about the argument in the moment. It was some sort of pain that I've had in this lifetime that it created a memory in me of it, and I went bang, bite,
Went straight
and
to it. Yeah.
yes, I bit my wife's head off, right, or
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that if we can heal those pain points in ourselves
Yeah.
and give ourselves
Hmm.
that unconditional love of the
Hmm.
inner warrior,
Hmm.
the more we do that, the more we expand and the more we fill up our vessel, this human experience, with unconditional love. God, all we want to do is give it out.
That is beautiful.
Give love.
Exactly. I mean, absolutely beautiful because it sounds like, in the midst of our adversities, our struggles, our challenges, and we go into the eye of the storm, and we want to be curious, and we find that inner warrior within us, and that inner warrior. And here's the part that's really ironic for me. It seems like that inner warrior in how it guides us and helps us to be brave and step into fear can really help us. I mean, he's found the inner warrior is found in the eye of the storm, but can help you outside the storm when it comes to relationships. So would that be accurate?
Oh, mate, just just put it this way. What if every storm, because a relationship can be a storm too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
What if every storm is for us, to find our inner warrior, right?
Oh, yeah.
So look at it that aspect.
A deeper
Look
purpose.
at it from a total different perspective.
Yes.
What if, and I'm saying what if because I want your audience to be curious about this.
Yeah.
What if the storms they're having in their relationship, in their work, in their life, personal, whatever that is,
Yeah.
what if they are for you so you can connect to your inner warrior and create what you're meant to create in this lifetime?
Approaching a storm with that mindset can really move us in that direction.
And then you read out what I said before. In the eye of every storm, a warrior is born, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that's what the storm's there to do. It's because my accident was my storm.
Yeah.
It woke me up. It took me on a different path.
Yes.
I thought I was sweet in that life.
Yeah.
I thought I had it all going the right way,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it blew it apart because I wasn't meant to go that way. I was meant to come this way
Right.
and be speaking to you right here, right now.
Amazing. Amazing. But at the time we're going through it, we don't know that's the direction.
No, no.
But we
It
have to
took me.
trust.
It took me years or 25 years or 22 years or 3 years to figure that out. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I coach, is because I want people to get it faster for themselves.
That's amazing. And let's help them get it faster for themselves. If you could share uh, with us, with the listeners, how can they follow you, connect with you, maybe pick up a copy of your book and just learn more about the great work that you're doing in coaching people in realizing their true potential by finding that inner warrior?
Beautiful, man. There's a couple of things. I've got a website. It's wayneforrest.com.
Mhm.
Forrest is spelt with two R's. It's the same as Run Forest Run. I
Yes.
like
Yes.
like to say that with being able not to run anymore. Um, so
Uh,
Wayne, WAYNE
okay.
WAYNE
Yep.
Forest
Gotcha.
FORREST.com.
Gotcha.
And the book's on Amazon. The
Okay.
Inner Warrior, search my name or the book itself. There's a companion book with it. But I also would love to offer 5 of your listeners the opportunity to do a complimentary session with me. It's a complimentary gift to those 5. First 5 in that hit the link, which we'll provide. And this complimentary session is like a 45-minute Zoom call with me where we look at what is that block?
Right.
What
Right.
is that paradigm of thought? Because I believe that each one of us has that thought that is blocking us. And we'll discover that together. And then we'll look at what is really in their heart. What would you love if everything worked out? And then we'll look at a step, and that's the complementary gift part. We'll look at a step that they can take from where they are to cross that gap.
Wow.
That has a cost to it, normally $250 US.
Right.
But
Right.
for your listeners, Aubrey, that's absolutely complimentary. First 5 in can grab one of those.
That is of extraordinary value, Wayne. I can't begin to emphasize to the listeners how much of a value this is in getting true guidance and coaching complimentary in one session for wondering and trying to figure out, where are those barriers, where's the paradigm, what are the challenges that keeps you from connecting or finding or discovering that inner warrior within you. I mean, it puts you on the roadmap. It really does, and it's priceless. It's extraordinary
Mm.
value, and thank you in advance for providing that link, Wayne. We will keep the link along with your website and the Amazon link for the book in the episode show notes. I want the listeners to take advantage of this. For all the listeners, you've heard it right here. Wayne is offering for the first 5 a complimentary 45-minute session to where we can delve into your journey, into your life, into just trying to break those barriers to identify and connect with that inner warrior. It will be truly transformative for your lives. It will have such a positive and amazing impact on not just your inner self, but your outward relationships. And Wayne is saying it right here. Wayne, we'll make sure and have those links in the episode show notes for the listeners to access for sure, sir.
Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
No, absolutely, Wayne. And I want to thank you for coming on to the show. I love the insights. I love your transparency that you have been willing to share with us by giving us a glimpse into your journey, into the things you've experienced that has transformed you to where you are today, to where we're here in this room talking. I want to I consider you a brother, and I want to have us keep in touch and hopefully bring you on the show in the future if you publish another book or any other type of breakthroughs in your coaching that you want to share on the show. Love to bring you back in the future, sir.
That'd be an honor. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening. And look, you may feel like this at times, but in the midst of our adversities and struggles, you're never alone. And hope is always around the corner. I humbly ask that you please share this show with someone you know, someone you love who needs motivation, inspiration, and support. And when it all comes down to it, we're all just roadies on this journey of life. And it feels good having you on the road with me. Thanks again for listening, and we'll chat again soon. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of The Road to Rediscovery. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at roadtorediscoverypodcast@gmail.com and leave us any questions or comments you may have.